What's going to get the headlines is the Marine deployment to the Batanes Islands. United States Marine Corps anti-ship missile deployment to highly strategic Luzon Strait is unprecedented. From the Batanes Islands, naval strike missiles would be able to engage any surface vessel transiting the channel between Taiwan and the Philippines. And that'll certainly get the headlines, and that's going to get a response. And you will hear China talk heavily about this. But what is probably also on their radar but isn't going to get the headlines, but certainly will go observed, is that the Philippines deploy second BrahMos battery, a supersonic warning shot at Beijing. The arrival of the second missile unit follows their earlier delivery in April 2024, further cementing the $375 million defense pact signed between New Delhi and Manila, a landmark deal that has strategic implications across the Indo-Pacific. So as you have the first deployment of the Marine Corps' Littoral Combat Regiment into an unprecedented situation, and this story here out of the war zone goes into that deployment of the forces, talks about the 3rd Marine Littoral Combat Regiment, designed to fight within the enemy's own waterway backyard, will be a key U.S. player in the exercise, which will include 14,000 personnel predominantly from the U.S. Philippines Armed Forces. Smaller contingents from Australia and Japan will also be taking part, which is a first for the latter. As far as I know, this is the first implementation of the Marine Littoral Regiment doctrine. They're deploying with these right here, these missile launchers, which are automated, and you can drive remotely to a position and fire them off. They're capable of firing off the naval attack missile, as seen here, or Tomahawk land attack missiles, or sea missiles. And this is a great picture right here. You can really see this. This is a great video. I'm actually going to play this. I debated this. That's what I was kind of debating about here.
Use in littoral waters and the open sea. It has a stated range of around 111 miles, some stealthy features, and an imaging infrared seeker that is impervious to electronic warfare. Naval strike missiles can also strike land targets in a secondary capacity. These missiles are currently only deployed aboard some littoral combat ships. They will also be deployed on the Constellation-class frigate currently in development. These weapons
due sometime in 2029.
Cost $1,900,000.
So we have the Philippines, who in this exercise will be exercising as if they are deploying BrahMos cruise missiles, which is one of the most effective cruise missiles in the world. It can fly at a speed of Mach 2.8. It is sea skimming until its pop-up and dive point. And the fact that India is able to produce these in quantities now, that export is a realistic possibility, really brings to the forefront India as an emerging power. And this goes into it here, how India is going to be a counter to Chinese ambitions in the region, how they and other nations such as the Philippines, Indonesia, and South Korea and Vietnam all together form a group of nations who are becoming more and more independent, more and more able in their ability to counter Chinese ambitions, and India being able to produce one of the most capable supersonic missiles, anti-ship supersonic missiles in the world for export to the Philippines, who is diversifying their abilities. Their second battery of BrahMos This is going to really enable a flexibility to defend their interests in the South China Sea from the Chinese Coast Guard, and to be able to interdict anything to the north of Luzon in between Taiwan and the Philippines, offering a wonderful deterrent there too. The BrahMos system is incredibly capable, and I applaud India in their ability to produce it and sell it. You really see a Southeast Asian and a South Asian increase in capability. The Indians, a couple of years ago, launched their first and probably their last indigenous aircraft carrier, and not because they can't, just because it is such an expenditure and probably such a waste. The South Koreans launching the KF-21, which is one of the most capable fourth-generation aircraft in the world. Unfortunately, the Indonesians have been unable to keep up their end of the bargain, enter the UAE. Unfortunately, the UAE isn't India, isn't the Philippines, isn't another one of these Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, which I was hoping would move in to the KF-21 deal. There is a building capability in Southeast Asia. All it's missing is a unified structure that would be able to put all of these individual pieces into a common goal, into a common like. Everybody's goal would be accomplished by working together. And doing so without China, Russia, or the United States, utilizing indigenous capabilities. We're talking about a region that could really flex its own muscle and own capability in its region to prevent any conflict from happening with its northern, western, or eastern neighbors. I just saw this article. You're going to hear about the United States deployment of Marines into this situation that, if this was real world, I think they're hanging these Marines out to dry and just creating another Wake Island. Wherever they deploy them, whatever the name of the island is, remember it for history, because it very likely will stand with Wake Island and the Wake Island defenders and their unfortunate fate. Because I do believe that the Marine Littoral Regiment doctrine is doomed to fail. Not because of the courage of our Marines, which is without question, the bravest, most capable soldiers in the world. But they're being let down by the logistical abilities of the United States and its bureaucratic shortcomings. It cannot create a logistics chain to supply these people once they get out in the middle of the ocean. They're putting them halfway between Taiwan and the Philippines. Okay. What are you supplying them with? Because every one of the methods of supply, the light, hell, I did a video about it. It's right here. U.S. Marine Corps being set up for another Wake Island. Has 8,000 views. I did it a month ago. It goes through, it's a 21-minute video, and it goes through step by step the failures of the bureaucracy of the United States military, the United States Congress, to support our Marines in the field, who are going to be put out on some godforsaken rock halfway between Taiwan and the Philippines and told, stop the Chinese Navy. Okay. Good luck. Be hundreds and thousands of missiles falling on top of their heads in no time at all. Bravery can't stand up to that. And they're being set up for failure because they will not be able to be resupplied. And they cannot be guaranteed air superiority. But in this exercise, they will be guaranteed air superiority. As far as the Philippines go, they're doing the right thing. They're getting their own systems in place. They're not relying on a doctrine of failure. They're relying on a doctrine of deterrence and area denial. And they're using Indian technology to do so. Again, one of the most capable supersonic anti-shipping missiles in the world, 2 batteries of which are now in the Philippines, are of Indian design, not Chinese, not American, with assistance from Russia, with assistance. Nothing more. The Indians have built, tested, put into service one of the most effective anti-ship missiles in the world, fired from air, land, or sea. And as a deterrence to China, and in these upcoming exercises, the Philippines will be brandishing them, while the United States puts its Marines on a rock in the middle of nowhere. I'm sorry if I sound pessimistic about this, guys. I'm so worried about this because of the logistics and our inability to take care of the logistics here. It scares the hell out of me. It's not the bravery of our Marines. That's unquestioned. Goes without question. But bravery can only go so far. We've proven that once in history. I don't want it to be proven again. And as the Philippines, they're doing the right thing. They're doing theirs, working alongside us, but separate from us. Alongside us, but separate from us. U.S. Philippine Armed Forces, Australian, and Japanese. I know I'm going on about this, but this is going to get the headlines. Marine missile units deployed to the Pacific. As it should. The story the Chinese might be far more interested in. BrahMos second battery, now in the Philippines. I'd be paying attention. I know China is. With that, I hope you like it. If you like this rambling, incoherent rant about my worries in the South Pacific, hit that like button. Share it with a friend. Let them know. The Philippines just got their second battery of the second most capable anti-ship missile in the world, as the U.S. Marines are deployed to a rock in the ocean and hopefully can be resupplied. I appreciate it. Thank you.